welcome. All of the poses today will be done while seated. I'm going to do all of them that are just options to you, so kind of treat this class like a menu and you just choose those poses that you'd like and do whatever your body needs for the other time. Okay, so we're going to start today in a little bit more of an active pose. So we're going to come forward in your chair. Best if you have a stable chair with a back. And that if you have wheels on your chair, make sure that your chair wheels are locked. So we're going to start with just a few lion's breaths, which just helps you get rid of everything that you're thinking about right now and helps you focus on yourself and your yoga poses. So we're breathing in through the nose, arms come up, and then sighing it forward, come forward, lean forward, get rid of everything. Let's do that a couple of times. Breathing in, and then let it go. Breath in. Let it go. And then shaking out, doing whatever movements you need to do in order to be still for a moment. Just checking in with your body, maybe noticing how each part of your body is feeling today. And then both hands are going to come to rest right on your belly. Fingers are going to interlace a little bit, and you're going to look down at your own belly and your own fingers. What you're going to do here is start to focus on the breath, because that's what yoga is all about, is breathing and movement together. So as you breathe in deeply, those fingers are going to fly apart and you're going to be holding a really, really full belly. And then as you breathe out, your fingers will interlace again, feeling the air come in and out through your belly. So breathing in, breathing out, breath in, and breath out. So a lot of movement in the fingers there. Do one breath where it's a little bit longer and fuller. So breathing in, hey, hey, and breathing out. I was saying hey because we have some in-person participants and we have a lot of participants live in Zoom. So welcome to each of you. We're just focusing on our breath here. So hands come to the belly. One more deep breath, looking down at your hands. We're breathing in. And you're breathing out, letting it go. Great. Move all the way to the back of your chair, leaning your back against the back of the chair. More passive posture here. One hand comes onto either your belly or your heart, whatever feels good for you. Other hand can come over to join it. And for just a moment, you're going to set an intention for your practice, what you'd hope to accomplish in the next 30 minutes together. Maybe it's as before, the last week, where you're sending gratitude to someone, being grateful for someone. Or maybe you're sending gratitude for yourself, thankful that you showed up, that you're here, that you're participating. Whatever your intention was, moving with me to the front or middle or front of your chair, hands will come together. We're going to reverse the directions here. So reaching out and then up. Hands will join, going to whatever movement feels good for you, which might be a little movement, it might be a lot. So reaching up and then joining. That's your movement. Add a breath, breathing in and breath out. Breathing in and breathing out. Because yoga is often about reversing energy, reverse direction. Picture in your mind for a moment what that would look like reverse. So that looks like coming up and then around and down. Hands come together, reaching up and around and down. Beautiful. Hands come to rest right onto the thighs. Let's play a little bit with tension and ease here. So shoulders are going to come all the way up, almost like your shoulders want to become earrings, really tense in this pose, carrying a lot of tension through the shoulders, and then dropping down and back. Shoulders come up, and then drop them down and back, replacing all of that tension with ease. That's your movement. Add a breath if you haven't already, breathing in and out. Once more, breath in and breath out. really nice. You're going to start to work on one side of your neck by having your chin come over one side here. So you're looking over one shoulder. Hand can come to the belly if that feels good for you, to feel the air come in and out. Give it a couple of good breaths here, sending some breath to the neck. Just allowing the breath to release some of the tension on the side of your neck. Excellent. Coming back through center, hand replaces. We're looking now toward the other side. Again, option to have the hand come on the belly just to feel that air come in and out. This feels really good here this morning. Remember, option to up level for any pose is to just replace any tension in your face with a smile. Feels really strange the first couple of times you do it, but after a while, it kind of feels good. A reminder you can smile in almost any posture. Give it another good breath in here. And letting it go, come back through center. Hand replaces. We're going to tilt now toward one side, like we're asking a question. Getting into my favorite part. Coming into work today, I was like, I can't wait for this part of my day. So this is our free neck massage portion of the day. So you can extend the arm that you're tilting away from if you'd like. You also have the option to play with your gaze. So notice what it does to your neck if you look toward the floor in this posture and then look toward the sky. So slowly rolling down, looking toward the earth, noticing parts of your neck you didn't even know existed, being a curious observer there, moving really slowly with intention, and helping your head back up through center. Maybe you're noticing that one side of your neck feels very different than the other side right now. That's beautiful. You did that. That's yoga. Moving now toward the other side, tilting toward the other side. Again, reminder that we're sitting, we're moving, we're breathing. We're not taking that too seriously. And you can always add a really good breath here. And if you're feeling real amazing, you can add a smile here, see what that does to your experience. You can extend the hand, and then you can also play with the gaze. So looking toward the floor, looking toward the sky. Reminder that if this is the only sequence you remember during your week, this counts as yoga. Pretty easy to incorporate a little bit of yoga to your everyday practice. You might notice some benefits in what you're able to stand, your thoughts throughout the day. Great, coming back in through center. Grabbing onto your elbows in front of you, we're pulling up the arms to wherever feels good, which might be here, it might be straight up parallel with the earth. Gaze is forward, but we're going to get just the arms to go toward one side. So trunk is forward, gaze is forward, getting a nice good stretch through the back of the arm. And we'll breathe through that. This will be an important stretch because we're discoing later in this class, so getting this arm stretched out. Coming in through center, arms will come now toward the other side. Notice that the rest of the body is still, just the arms are moving, which is just a great metaphor for the effort in your life, just focusing only on moving the muscles that need to move, and not every muscle has to be involved in every single pose. Coming back in through center, lift those arms up as far as feels good for you, and then let them come all the way down, shaking them out, getting rid of it, moving all the way to the back of your chair, letting yourself rest, leaning against the back of the chair. Feels really good. Like it's been a while since you've leaned like that. We're going to start with the hand that you don't write with. So take a moment to think, okay, what hand do I write with? Now let's go to the other one. So we're going to use that hand if that feels good for your body. If that doesn't work, you can use whatever hand you'd like. We're going to reach that hand all the way up, fingers spreading wide, and then we're going to get big. Oh, beautiful. I thought my lawnmower was going to stop for a moment, and it didn't. Bending at the elbow, come in front of the body, then come out toward the side. This is the part that you can add a back bend if that's part of your practice, just draping your back over the back of your chair. And then releasing the pose, letting the arm come all the way down. Same hand that you don't write with. Let's go through that sequence, but this time with a breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breath in. And breath out. Nice. Take a moment just to notice the effects of the practice. Maybe there's something going on different in one side of your body versus the other. Switching to the side you write with. Getting big. Extending, reaching all the way toward the other side of the earth. Fingers flying apart from each other. Bending at the elbow. Coming in front. Out toward the side. Back bend if you'd like it. Just using the back of the chair. And then hand will come all the way back down. Beautiful sequence. Notice if you added the breath already, or if you needed me to remind you about the breath. Breathing now. Breath in. Breath out. Breathing in. And breath out, let it go. Interlacing the fingers in front of you, one thumb on top, like we're about to hit a volleyball. If that doesn't work for your body, grabbing onto a wrist, whatever feels good for you. And then reaching toward me as I reach toward you, coming out and forward. Intent of this sequence is to get those hands as far from the face as possible, not so much how high you can go. So coming up with me, reaching as far as feels good, and then coming all the way back down. Always checking in with the face, saying, am I looking really crazy right now, or am I looking happy? Does it look like I'm enjoying what I'm doing? Maybe not. Our faces do funky things. Breathing in and breathing out. Let that go. Yep. Breath in and breath out. Beautiful. We did a sequence just now with one arm then the other. Take a moment to think of what that would look like if you did two hands together. And that's what we're doing. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breath in. And breath out. Beautiful. All right, it's disco time. Moving to the middle or the front of your chair. Feet are going to come right underneath your knees here. You can have your two fists in middle of your knees just to space out. And then the hand that you don't write with will extend up, palm is facing out, and those fingers will glue together. Aha. Then we'll come all the way across the body, aiming for above that opposite knee. That feels okay for you. And then we're reaching up and out. Yep. Good. Going through that sequence. Just notice how that would feel with a breath. So breathing in and breathing out. Try to breathe through the whole movement. And breathing out. Good. Releasing the pose. Promise disco. That's what we did. Breathing in. Let it go. Other hand reaches up. My palm is facing out. My fingers glued together. And then I'm coming in front of the body, crossing the midline, going to wherever feels good, but we're aiming for just above the opposite knee. And we're reaching up and out. Trying to keep that elbow straight or close to straight as you cross all across your body. Try that with a breath. Inhaling. And exhaling. Push the air away. Breathing in. And breathing out. Great. Replacing the hand. Just for a moment, shaking out the hands, coming up onto your elbow, these are your shoulders here. We're going to make a couple of shoulder circles coming forward. These can be teeny, tiny little circles, or they can be larger. They can get bigger, elbows almost touching midline, if that's what your body needs today. Breathing through it. Maybe you're playing with your own breath here. And then come into stillness for a moment, and then switch directions, coming back now. Good time to check in with your intention. What was it you wanted out of this time together? What does your body or your mind need? Are you closer to that intention? Releasing the pose, hands come to rest. We did our disco move with one hand and then the other. Take a moment to try to picture what that would look like with two hands at one time. And if that feels good for your body, join me. Hands will come up, fingers glue in, and we're gonna have to decide which hand's going on top. You come forward and crossing, yeah, and then reaching. No collisions at the intersections here. And we're crossing maybe the other way, noticing what that does for your shoulder blades. If you cross first with one arm on top, reaching, and crossing with the other. Add a breath here if you haven't. Breathing in and breathing out. Breath in, good morning, and breath out. This is a great morning one if you haven't. If you just need to, like, you woke up and something weird is happening between your shoulder blades, it's a good way to realign here. Moving all the way to the back of your chair, leaning against the back of your chair. We're going to get into the side body here for just a moment. One hand will extend toward your knee. Other hand comes to grab onto that wrist. And then lifting up on the arm to wherever feels good. Whenever you're at a good height, you're going to tilt over toward one side. Noticing how long you are in the side body all the way through that hip. If you have a back to your chair, use the back of your chair to adjust your gaze, not from the earth, but up to the sky. Noticing how much more space you have in your body if you do that. So using the back of your chair to really get a good stretch here. Coming back in through center, releasing the pose, letting those hands drift slowly like they're through wet cement or quicksand. Noticing how one side of your body feels versus the other. Beautiful. Switching now toward the other side if that feels good for you. Grabbing on, reaching up to wherever feels good. Then tipping over. Using the back of the chair to adjust your gaze. We're noticing the sky, if you can see the sky. And we're breathing, holding this pose with our muscles but not with the breath. Cycle the breath. Allow it to get rid of anything that's stuck in your body. Beautiful. Coming back in, release the hand and let those hands slowly float down. Awesome. Nice poses. Good. Moving to the middle or the front of your chair. Time to check in with your hips. We're going to do this first by hinging forward at the hips, almost like we're closing a book, and the book is ourselves. So we're coming forward and bowing toward the earth to wherever feels good, and then coming all the way back up. Keeping that spine really straight, losing none of your height as you come forward, and then come back up. Excellent. Add a breath to that sequence if you haven't. Breathing in and breathing out. Maybe you're noticing that's a lot easier to move through that sequence if you're breathing. Definitely drinking water on a day like today, so take any breaks to drink water that you need. Excellent. Now we're going to curve that spine, so bending at the elbows, curving the spine, looking up. And then elbows will come straight, tailbone tucks under, and we're looking at your own belly button. Bending at the elbows, come forward, shine the heart up. Maybe your shoulder blades even come back in that sequence. And then moving through space, maybe just the top of your back touches the back of the chair as you curve the other way. Really big curve in the spine. Add a breath to that sequence. Breathing in, come forward. Looking up and breathing out, come back. This is a great one if you find yourself sitting a lot during the day. Good one to realign the spine. Last time at your own pace with your own breath. Beautiful poses. Spine comes back. Add 2 to 3 inches to your height. Spine long and tall. And then one hand will pull in towards your hip, other hand comes all the way over to join it. We're just here for a moment, noticing our height as we twist. So breathing in, we're tall. And breathing out, we twist, starting from the low back. Great. Coming now toward the other side. Hand pulls in towards your hip, other hand comes over to join it. Breathing in, we're tall, discovering our height. And breathing out, we twist. Once more like that. Breathing in, you're tall. And breathing out, you twist. Excellent. That one's kind of like wringing out anything, any sort of stress that you might have in your spine. Nice breath in. And breath out. Breathing in. And letting it go. Excellent. Good. We're going to get into the legs here a little bit. Start on the side that you don't write with. So think about how you write. Switch to the other side. That's the side you're going to start with. So supporting the leg is going to come up to wherever feels good for you. It's going to come out toward the side to wherever feels good, and it comes down. Legs comes up, comes out, and comes down. Great, that's the movement, but notice now your head. So a tendency in this, especially for me, is to kind of like move around. Let's picture like we're putting a full glass of water on your head and do that same sequence. Don't spill a drop. So we're coming up, we're coming over, and coming down. Isolating movements is so powerful. Only using the muscles that we need and telling the other muscles, hey, relax, you don't have to move all the way around. Add a breath if you haven't. Same sequence, same leg. Breathing in and out. Breath in and breath out. Beautiful. Hands rest. Notice maybe what's happening in your hip on one side. Notice if it was easy for you to smile when you did that. Notice if instead it was tense. We're not judging it, we're just noticing it. Coming now toward the other side, supporting the leg, if that feels good for you. Option, if you've taken this class a million times and you'd like to work on your abs a bit, you can have the hands resting on the stationary leg and only do this just with the leg, not supporting it. It's really, truly very hard. So decide what you'd like. Choose your own adventure. So breathing in and breathing out. Breath in and breath out. Maybe you're noticing a part of your hip that you didn't know existed. Those are your own muscles you're feeling. Last time through that sequence, let the breath move you. Great. Moving now to the other side for just a moment. We're going to do that same sequence, but we're going half the distance, half the height. So it's a tiny, tiny, tiny movement. My half is a little aggressive, but there you go. Noticing that moving smaller and making this a more subtle movement doesn't necessarily make it easier, just makes it different. Breathe through it. Every time I focus on my breath, I notice that I have to move more slowly. Switch to the other side. Again, we're making this much more subtle movement. Focus on your own experience, really inward experience. You're a curious observer of the sensations in your own body. Excellent. Good. Returning for a moment and then making this a bigger movement. Instead, we're going to take all the edges out of here. So you're drawing like a rainbow or a semicircle with your toe. So picture that we've just put a paintbrush on your toe, and we're going to draw a big rainbow. And a rainbow. Switch sides. Rainbow. I guess so now we're drawing McDonald's, but don't think about it. Switching, breathing. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, take a moment just to notice what's going on with your hips as you rest. If you picture your hips as that full bowl of water, are you noticing that you're at rest, you're tilting forward, spilling water out? Or at rest, you're tilting back, spilling water back? Or can we get that nice and straight? Good. Breathing in. And breathing out. I got a lot going on in the hips there, so that was a good sequence for me. Moving all the way to the back of your chair, leaning against the back of your chair. Hands come to rest right onto your thighs here. Let's get into the ankles. So you can do this on the floor if this feels good for you, or do this in the air. We're just going to make some circles with your ankles, waking up your ankles. Listening to all the stories they're telling us this morning. Oop, there it was. And take a moment in stillness. Try to remember which direction you went and go the other way. Excellent. Great. And you can play with this when you're doing this at home. You can kind of like go the same direction. That's harder for me. It's natural for me to go like opposite directions. But you can play with going the same direction with both feet and then switching directions with both feet. And then feet come down, and you'll just take a moment to notice the fireworks and the energy and the sensations that happen in your ankles after you've woken them up. Take a moment, one hand covers your heart, other hand comes all the way over to join it. Chin comes to rest right into your chest. Your eyes can float closed if that's comfortable for you. If not, a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. And we're going to scan the body, noticing the toes, and you're wiggling them maybe. Noticing them, checking in with the toes, checking in with the ankles. Sending awareness up the body to the knees, checking in with the knees. Sending awareness up the thighs to the hips, where we spent a lot of time in today's session. Sending awareness now in your mind up each piece of your spine to your shoulders, down the backs of the arms to the elbows, up the fronts of the arms to the wrists, the fingers, the backs of your hands, the whole hands as they cover the heart. And most importantly, sending awareness up each piece of your neck to every muscle of your face, maybe even noticing the muscles in your scalp and your forehead, noticing if your teeth are clenched together, the tongue is stuck to the roof of the mouth, noticing if it's easy or more challenging to smile, and giving yourself space to feel whatever you need to feel at that moment. Returning for a moment to your intention, just noticing. And then in gratitude today for a safe and fun practice, moving to the middle or the front of your chair will end as we've started. Together we look up, breathing in, and watching the fingers come down, we breathe out. Together we breathe in and out. Reversing here, breathing in and out. Last time, breathing in and breath out. Thank you to each of you, both in person and online, for joining us. Drink water today. It is so hot. Stay inside, be well, take care. We'll see you next time.